arrest as it should be is a legal process, then if you are arrested illegally or in a way that you should not have been, then there are always ways to reverse that without necessarily resorting to assault or committing another crime. Hello everyone, welcome again to our session of Ask a Lawyer by Crime Sipoa, and I'm going to take 4 of your questions again today, and I hope I'll be of help to you. So the first question is on the right to review bail. First of all, we ought to know that review of bail is a right that is guaranteed in the Constitution, and reviewing bail is basically when, assuming you go to court and then the court gives you bail of say 5 million shillings and you cannot afford that, you can request the court, the same court or even the High Court, which has jurisdiction under the policy guidelines on reviewing of bail and bond, to review your bail and give you a considerable amount that you can be able to pay, or give you terms which are more favorable. And one of the things that we should also note that bail can be reviewed from time to time. So for instance, if today you're able to afford that 5 million, but as the case progresses, you become bankrupt, or the person who was willing to be your surety decides to withdraw, then you can always approach the court, preferably the High Court, because it's the one that has been given mandate by the policy guidelines to review your bail. Also, the magistrate courts have jurisdiction to review, but sometimes most magistrates don't really want to interfere with the issue of bail. So you find that most people who want to review bail will go to the High Court. So it's the most convenient place to go and ask for your bail to be reviewed. And it's also important to note that the court has a duty to inform you that you have a right to review your bail from time to time, or even when you've actually been given bail or bond. The next question that you asked is on what constitutes the defense of heat of passion. So first of all, we should understand what heat of passion is. It, in simple terms, it's provocation. You didn't have the mens rea or the mental what is it called? You did not anticipate, you did not want to commit that crime, you did not prepare to commit the crime, but someone does something, or does something to someone that you care about, maybe your family, your sister, your brother, that provokes you, that makes you commit an offense. So this is a crime, mostly in murder. And also for people who have been accused of murder, they can use this as a defense and their charge will be reduced to manslaughter. It's also important to note that if you're accused of, if someone approaches you or tells you something that is true, or does something that is legal, and then at your end you end up being provoked, then that will not be considered as a defense of provocation. It has to be something unreasonable and probably that is not necessarily warranted in law. Then the question that usually arises is whether, for example, the police just arrest you. You've not committed any crime, then the police arrest you. Then out of that anger or spite, you strike a police officer, you assault them. So the question is, will that then be considered as a defense? Most of the time, courts are very reluctant to consider that as a defense, because there are more reasonable ways to go about resisting arrest, because arrest, as it should be, is a legal process. Then if you are arrested illegally or in a way that you should not have been, then there are always ways to reverse that without necessarily resorting to assault or committing another crime in that situation. The next question is on perjury. So someone asked, what is the offense of perjury? So the definition of perjury is basically lying to the court or lying under oath. The most basic definition, or the traditional definition of perjury, was that when you go to court, you're given the Bible, you swear to tell the court the truth and nothing but the truth, but you give fabricated evidence, or you lie about something because you want to keep someone out of jail, or you want to get some consideration or mercy, I mean just for any reason you lie to the court, then that is considered to be perjury. Then it's also important to understand that you don't necessarily have to be under oath to be guilty of the offense of perjury. So if you lie in any stage during judicial proceedings, that can be considered to be perjury. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on the stand or after you've taken oath. And if you want to understand further, you can read the Penal Code under Section 108. They explain it very well. And the basic elements is, first of all, there has to be judicial proceedings. Then there has to be a lie told to the court or to judicial officers, including lawyers. I mean, but there's that element of advocate-client confidentiality, so you can leave them out. But lying to a judicial officer actually amounts to perjury. And then the offense attracts a penalty of imprisonment of up to 7 years. So if you don't feel too confident about going to court, please just make sure you don't lie under any circumstances, because it's a crime. So the other question that I got from you guys is, what is a bona fide claim of rights? So this is usually a defense in property offenses, and I'll use an illustration to explain. So assuming person A owes person B money, and then person B decides they've been asking for their money for a very long time, and probably they feel frustrated, and they're like, you know what, if I take her phone, she'll probably pay me back. So the intention of taking the phone is not to steal or defraud them in any way. They're taking the phone hoping that the person A will pay them. So this person can, if person A goes and alleges that person B stole from them, they can go and they can use that as a defense and say, you know, I actually thought I had right over their phone until they paid me my debt. So it's a defense that where a person actually thinks or assumes that they have right over something, over property, which is not necessarily theirs. Yeah, so that is what that is the simple definition of a bona fide right. And that's all for today for questions, and I look forward to taking more questions from you and giving help to the extent that I can. Thank you. See you again soon. Bye.